Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have a 1v1 between Barcast and Akumar. Will Barcast be able to pull off a victory this time, or will Akumar reign supreme? Let's find out. We are on the map Pools of Illis today. We've seen it a few times on the channel. And let me just give you a brief overview. As we zoom on down to Barcast start, who is in blue today, we see a potential start position here. A triple mechs in the corner. Very good, strong defensive position, but also you could start here where Barcasters start, which is a double mech. This gives you a fairly decent point to push out from, giving you close access to the two metal points that are just directly in front of us right now, as well as the two to the side, giving you also a fairly defendable position on a good-ish high ground area. Now, as we zoom across, this is the next potential start position, a double metal point. This is fairly low space, but you do see some players start here. The cliff does give you a bit of an advantage. Also, players can move to the edge line there where the crystal is and build some tidals in this water here. Tidal is pretty strong on the map, but you don't often see players doing it. Now, moving along Barcast's northern line here, we've got a couple more metal extractors and then the canyon section with metal extractors on the high ground. These canyon walls will cause problems for radar, so it's very imperative to get ahead of them. And most players on Barcast's side will aim to try and end his defensive line around this mark, but it is quite a long way to push when your opponent is just there. Now, little things of note here, which I've noticed recently, is although units can't pass this way round, on this section over here, they can actually move around this bit of hill here. So it's very important to make sure you're kind of covering either the top where that metal extractor is, or in the main part over here. Now, as we look in the middle, you see some scouts just get blown up by Akumar here. The center does have a geo and a couple of metal points, but other than that, it's pretty devoid of actual conflict, but objectives rather is the accurate thing to say. There are plenty of scouts though making their way in along the north of Barcast base, but with ticks there ready to fight. We'll see if they get past, and once this initial early raid is done, we'll switch back to the normal camera. I would like to switch back to the normal camera now, but I don't want to miss this raid. So, pawns are out from Barcast. Scouts do manage to make it past the ticks. Don't actually go for those bottom metal extractors though. And we'll now get caught up very quickly. A bit of a mistake there by Akumar. And let's switch back to the main camera here. Okay. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, Barcast able to actually... Nope, not able to pick up a metal extractor. It was very close to being able to pick up a metal extractor, but just short of it. Tries to split up his ticks there in an effort to try and force the blitzes off, but unable to really do too much there. Just quickly rotating that back to center. There we go. Ticks trying to run away, but they get chased down by the rovers. Rovers are quicker than ticks, obviously being vehicles, but the big but there is the turret turn speed on rovers is abysmal. So if you are able to get enough ticks, generally they will win versus rovers pretty much all the time. It is showing that Akumar is able to micro those pretty effectively until of course he runs straight into some pawns. Now, first thing to discuss right away is the difference in unit choices here. Barcast choosing to go for bots, whereas opponent is choosing to go vehicles. This does mean that Barcast should, in theory, have more units on the field than his opponent. which if he is able to spread out pressure across the entire map, that will cause Akumar to have to make some decisions here as to where he's going to attack. As we've mentioned before, blitzes cost 110 metal. Pawns here are 54. So in theory, we're talking 2 pawns for every 1 blitz. Which right now, you can see up here a 4 to 3 when it comes to pawns. So that's nowhere near enough. Barcast without the energy to really fire that LLT effectively, but does manage to keep the constructor alive just. Meanwhile, Barcast getting some good value over here, manages to get a metal extractor. He chooses to not chase after the constructor. To be fair, being this close to a base, getting a constructor is nice, but it's not like it's going to massively delay your opponent. And other than that 2 metal extractors, Barcast unable to pick up anything else with those 2 pawns. But all this delay is better than nothing. Akumar does manage to get into the base area of Barcast. So far, though, hasn't actually killed anything on his way around. Gets a metal extractor. Will potentially get 3 more metal extractors as he makes his way around. Now, the problem Barcast has is obviously his pawns, etc., are slower than the vehicles. Ooh, not even able to get the radar. So Barcast needs to be the one either on the offensive or already being positioned to defend. And that is somewhat proving difficult for him. He is left behind a metal extractor further here. We can see it queued up, but that is delaying his expansion to the north. And you can see the difference here between a commander push and a unit push. And I'll show you that in just a second after we see Barcast lose this expansion point to Akumar. Akumar is an OS minus of 13 compared to Barcast. So Barcast in the top 10 of players here. Oh, and Akumar actually destroys the wreckage of the construction bot, manually targeting it in order to basically remove the ability for Barcast to just res the constructor and continue building here. Also, the metal points also completely destroyed. But as we were talking about, Akumar's commander is all the way down at the bottom. He's almost at this choke point here. Whereas, you know, in comparison, the single constructor for Barcast is back here. 3 metal points behind Akumar and, well, 4 LLTs behind as well. So, Akumar's walking with his commander, the build power on the commander is definitely of good value here. The problem for Akumar, and we see this quite often now as well, is what to do once the commander is here. The commander gets here and then it can't really push any further this way. It's also then not in a good position to defend against any raids or any large unit pushes. And so the commander ends up having to walk either this way into the middle or all the way back, which seems a bit of a waste. Barcast, though, able to get a single pawn into the back line again of Akumar. I think it'll only get that single metal extractor before it gets killed. Yep. But still something to delay Akumar yet again. And interestingly enough, we see Barcast building both vehicles and bots at the moment. With a mixture of units in the center here, we see a single mace, a single centurion, a single stout, and 2 more stouts further forward as well. Oh, but Barcast has now reclaimed the bot lab and has gone into air. Are we going to maybe see a bomber push of some of the script? Still nothing really around here. The stouts will try and take out an LLT. If they do go either side of the LLT, flanking damage will help. And managing to take that out. But realistically, 2 stouts for a single metal extractor. Probably not worth in the grand scheme of things. Meanwhile, a big raid by Akumar on the north. There are some stouts here and pawns to help defend, but Do we see a self-destruct on the LLT, perhaps? No, and now the forces have managed to get past those defending units, hoping that the LLT that's there will stop this attack, and there are quite a few. And they do manage to secure that now with 1,000's worth of metal right here outside Barcast base. It's quite a lot to be had. Akumar has managed to walk forward and degun the con that was here. We just missed that. And now got him in a pretty strong position further forward. Barcast did attempt a small raid with 2 stouts here, but unable to actually fulfill anything. Barcast has also given away his air transfer very early here by using a scout. Looks like he actually just plans on using gunships to pick off some metal extractors, which, to be fair, the amount of time it takes to move units down in order to rebuild these metal extractors, it is quite valuable to build like 2 or 3 gunships, go pick off mexes, and then just reclaim your lab. What we are seeing though from Barcast is he's using these air cons now to get the metal extractors in the high ground, which will basically never get raided. He could choose also to go over and do the ones down here. And another thing that we never actually see is players building energy up here. Like, you're never going to get raided up here. So it is kind of surprising you don't ever see that. Barcast does lose an aircon though to yet another raid. About to lose a second one maybe. Double LLT is not enough to stop these blitzes piling through. And now the blitzes are well and truly through into Barcast base. Barcast commander is nearby. Manages to degun one of them, but the other 2 are out of range. Akumar with a single one left, but this LLT in a terrible position. Completely surrounded by windmills. It basically has, what, that as a line of fire? The Lasher there attempting to get in the way of the blitz. The metal extractor couldn't get killed, but it still does. Lasher's also inflicting friendly fire there, almost killing his teammate. But able to hold the line, and this LLT actually doesn't get finished as well. This will actually, as you can see here, plus 2.4 metal. So basically Barcast is getting 2.4 metal back into his economy because this isn't finished. You see pro players using that quite a lot in an attempt to try and get metal back if they're close to overflowing or something like that. They will start building something, you know, like a metal storage, but not entirely finish the metal storage in an attempt to try and just temporarily store some of those resources. And the metal storage being 330 metal. It's quite a lot of metal. Now what we do see is a pretty strong defensive line of units on this southern side. Akumar has built quite a few LLTs here, but combined with Stouts and Janisses, they will push through this fairly easily. We do see bombers being made by Akumar, and Barcast does have quite a few fighters, so I don't know how much value they're going to be able to get. Meanwhile, in the center, it's kind of no man's land at the moment. No one really controls it. Barcast does have a Centurion, which is trying to kill all of these blitzes, but realistically won't be able to get all of them. At the moment, the priority is the bombing run. Barcast spots it very early, and all of the bombers get destroyed before reaching their mark. All 4 of them completely annihilated. And that is a very strong defense there from Barcast. Meanwhile, on the north side, 11 more blitzes making their way in. This expanding constructor will get completely destroyed. But aircons will provide a quick kind of access to stuff here. I'm surprised we don't see Barcast maybe with a radar up here. That will give very good coverage around to like there. Give him plenty of warning when his opponent is moving units in. Meanwhile, though, Barcast just slowly whittling down the defenses of Akumar on this southern side here. Barcast really needs more forces on the north, or more defenses. This is a lot of blitzes. 22 blitzes with a metal value of 2,400. And very briefly, where are these going? Into the center, okay. Now, Barcast does have the ability to build Janisses. And Janisses are very good versus grouped up units. Especially like these blitzes here that are all grouped up. Will not prove very fruitful for the blitzes if they're all grouped up when a Janus shot lands. But with Barcast fully transitioning to stouts here, blitzes are going to start seeing their worthfulness come to an end. Worthiness, I guess, is the actual prep word there. And again, some blitzes do make it through, but driving straight past the base here. And the question you got to ask yourself is the 2 free metal extractors and a few more up here worth leaving 2,000 metal in your opponent's base? I don't know. I don't know about that. It does take Barcast time to repair and get back in. But Barcast has now transitioned to Tech 2. His opponent has also just gone Tech 2, Akumar. Akumar has finished the Tech 2 factory, got a Tech 2 con out, and then has left it be. Meanwhile, as Jags start to make their appearance, bear in mind Jags are not as good as they used to be. But when it comes to versus blitzes, they can still hold their own pretty well. You did kind of need to keep them more at range. Because anything, once they get surrounded from multiple angles, will die pretty quickly. And able to defend there, Barcast with no real worry. Interestingly enough, Barcast does have a high ground metal extractor on the opposite side where Akumar is. And this is interesting to see. He's actually got a radar up there as well. Akumar building defensive positions, quite heavy defensive positions actually, along this northern side here with beamers and dragon claws. Really trying to hold down that northern side. And now we see pressure taking place in the center. Now, this is normally where we see most of the action in a match here on Paul's Villas. It's normally focused on the center. Opponents like throwing everything they've got at the center, and then the commanders kind of walk down the sides, and it's kind of a bit of a stalemate. So it's interesting to see more play taking place on the flanks today. Meanwhile, Barcast's force here, I don't think this is enough to push into quite so many Tech 2 Jags. Especially being near your opponent's base, it's only a matter of time until you start getting a couple of bulls coming out, and then that means the end of your Tech 1 forces, pretty much. Barcast realizing that, though, means he's pulled his forces back. He does not want to give metal to your opponent. That's a very smart play at this point. Barcast getting some reinforcements of his own into the center. Some of his own Jags. But do we see from either player a change of plan? So we see bombers coming out from Barcast. Extremely struggling with energy though right now. And then Jags also from Barcast. His opponent though is only building bulls and Jags now. But both players really struggling for energy at the moment, and what do you expect? Wind was down for quite a while there. There's a lot of Tech 2 defenses planned on this bottom corner here. I don't know when they're going to get there. That's from this one guy. Akumar is currently has queued up all of this with that one con. There. Go back here. Build a Tech 2 defense. Build a Tech 2 defense there. There. And build those. So that's one con. That guy is going to take forever to do any of that. Meanwhile, if Tech 2 defenses start going up in this center part, which they are now doing, it is going to be harder for Barcast to push in by this avenue. Now, what Barcast has done is he has split his forces here and is now pushing a bunch of stouts on this north-hand side into the very strong defenses of Akumar, into the beamers, these dragon's claws. He does manage to take out both of the beamers, but there's still another 2 left after that. I'm not sure if he's got the amount of stouts there needed to push into that next line. Now with Tech 2 defenses, Barcast has to fall back a little bit now. Bulls will also make it hard for the Jags to really do their work. Barcast, knowing this, has already got Bulls of his own making his way up. And surprisingly, Resbots here, just going to where all the ticks are. Plenty of metal around Barcast's base. You see like almost 600 metal just sat on the floor around Barcast's base. Metal, a second though advantage is currently to Akumar. Barcast though is ahead on total metal produced. That's clearly from all of the reclaim he's had on this side here. And that is a significant metal difference. We're talking about 5k. In essence, that's a free Tech 2 factory. Oh, but with Barcast moving all of his Tech 2 Jaguars up to the north-hand side. North corner, shall we say. Pushing into those defenses, it leaves him open in the center, and Akumar has made the most of that. Barcast with a few Bulls here, but Bulls are a lot slower than Jags, and they're going to have to get ahead of the attackers if they want to be able to do anything here. The splash damage from the Bulls proving to do something pretty well. Barcast actually moving Bulls ahead here, so that's good. Meanwhile, at the same time, the Jags are pushing in on the northern side. Tech 2 defenses, though, are already up as well, and they do tend to, like, one-tap these Jags. No Geo position here either, so not really getting too much. And all the Jags that were attacking Barcast do get taken out. Barcast not able to get as much value as he was hoping for there. If this advanced Geo was started a little bit sooner, then this pop-up defense wouldn't have been able to shoot. The bomber attack of Barcast, I was about to say completely fails, but one bomber, oh no, never mind. Like I said, one bomber got through. One bomber got past the initial wave, but then got killed. And the tick spam from Akumar started. Quite a lot of ticks moving through that center position. Both players jostling for air power right now. Barcast does seem to have a bit of an advantage when it comes to air power, though. For now, at least. Surprisingly, we see a bunch of Mausers being built. Don't often see Mausers being built. Barcast has applied a little bit of pressure to this southern side by Akumar. Barcast positioning his fighters directly over the Jags, though, means he keeps losing fighters. And this is still a very close game. Could be anyone's right now. Barcast amassing even more pressure along this top side here. Akumar trying to take advantage of that by pressuring the center. But Tech 2 constructors going down here, as well as this advanced Geo will probably get killed as well. Barcast needs to be careful to not lose all of his forces trying to kill it though. And he does do significant damage to his own units though. Meanwhile, along the center of the map here, pretty much all the defensive forces of Barcast were destroyed, leaving only fresh reinforcements from the base. Now, this was only a small defensive outcrop with a couple of LLTs. It's not like there was a lot there. Oh, there is a lot of reclaim to be had. Barcast manages to sneak some bulls up from behind, able to get on top of those Mausers, taking those Mausers out, leaving just the bulls left, and there are now significantly more Barcast bulls than there are Akumar. Akumar decides he's now going to run away with those, and there is already constructors there ready to get the 10k worth of reclaim. Meanwhile, Barcast bulls are still pushing through the center of the map here, taking out some Tech 2 defenses as they drive by, attempting to reconnect these bulls with the main force in the center. There's a lot of Tech 2 defenses here though. I'm not sure if they'll quite make it. Although if they do take out the Tech 2 constructor, that will at least be something of value. Akumar desperately trying to save the Tech 2 constructor. Unfortunately for Barcast, he's not able to get it. 20% health left, and that will mean that Akumar can continue building Tech 2 defenses in this forward position here. Meanwhile, Barcast does not have anything like that. He has one con here. Not a lot of build power really, but Barcast eating up all of this metal here. Not rezzing it, just eating it. And realistically, he needs more energy. We can see him desperately rushing to get a fusion off the ground, as well as a couple more. That will pay for the starlights that he already has. And now Barcast runs into a little bit of a problem with this high ground. With the pitbulls up on a high ground position, they do get extended range. So he doesn't want to move too close. So Starlight should be able to take it out, but the problem he's got there is that he doesn't currently have the energy to fire it. The tick spam also does somewhat counter the Starlight, so he needs to be careful about that. Meanwhile, 26 minutes in, still anyone's game currently. Barcast is ahead though, metal produced wise, by 13%. We're talking about 15k worth of metal, maybe a little bit more. Army value though is looking also advantage Barcast. 34%. We're seeing what, 4k worth of metal difference in army value, but bear in mind that this Starlight on its own is 1,200. So, you know, half of the difference in army value is in these two alone. When it starts getting to Tech 2, it's a bit of a false flag, the army value number. Barcast loses all his red spots though to a bit of tick spam. And in Barcast base, we actually see Tech 3 planned from Barcast. Still having energy problems though, Barcast. And both players just kind of amassing units right now. Some ticks at the top here, trying to take out this Tech 2 constructor. Nice little bit of raiding here from Barcast. He's not really actively paying attention to these guys. But if this beamer does get built, which will be unfortunate, these guys will get mopped up fairly quickly. Ticks go into the center. And just pretty much do their normal thing as you would expect. Barcast is losing his northern area though, and he's not really moving his cons. He will lose this Tech 2 constructor. There's quite a few defenses here, but not enough to stop that many balls. These constructors will not be able to get away either. Barcast needs to send some forces, which he has done. But 5 bulls versus 6 bulls. Oh, it's now gone to 5v5. But Barcast losing quite a bit of economy here. It's been a while since Akumar has lost any economy. But the biggest difference here is that this is a lot of metal, again, left in the base. See, 3k and 3k, total of 6k worth of reclaim. Barcast still with army advantage here, also now moving into Tech 3. We could see a play like this coming from the Marauders. Completely bypassing his opponent's defenses, using the advantage of the amphibiousness of Marauders here. I think that would be the best call. You don't want to push through the middle where all the defenses are. Marauders are great and all, but they are pretty squishy. You gotta think that Barcast also using so much energy every shot of these starlights to shoot at ticks. 1,000 energy a shot wasted. He's also now in range of this rattlesnake, losing bulls freely. And the question is, will Akumar's pressure from the rattlesnake and creep of Tech 2 defenses be enough? Akumar, unsure what these units are on the north side, has pushed most of his Tech 2 units up there to deal with it. Whilst Barcast hasn't attempted a push into the center, but due to the hill has been unable to really make any progress. And instead just loses a bunch of units and is forced to fall back. Now bear in mind army value difference here. Barcast has Tech 3. But Akumar does not know they're in the water, but he's positioned all his forces along this high ground. Also, atomic bomber in the air lands in a very strange spot. Yep, exactly. Rest in peace, atomic bomber. And these marauders have came out of the water at such an inopportune time for Barcast, as the entire army of Akumar is sat there waiting for them. Atomic bomber makes his appearance, killing some of the forward constructors. Barcast does see the army has moved forward now. Will he make a move with these marauders? Yet to be seen. Atomic bomber is applying some pressure to these bulls here. Attempts to get another bomb off, but oh, is it actually landed instead with 3% health? Does manage to get another bomb off. But I think these marauders will get killed before they're able to actually do anything. Yep. And that is a lot of metal. 4k metal now sat there. Barcast has put a bit of a dent into this, but these rattlesnakes, 3 of them now, causing massive problems for Barcast in the center. Kind of surprised. What range is this? Range of 1,380. He no longer has Tech 2 vehicles. Right, that explains it. I was about to say, why doesn't he build like a missile truck or something like that? For example, one of these has a further range than that rocket and would be able to, or artillery, would be able to take out them pretty easily. But that is because Barcast fully transitioned to Tech 3 here. And he's hoping that this Tech 3 play will save him. Now choosing rattlesnakes. And he's got a single vanguard here. Barcast does have air superiority, but because of that, Akumar is going full in on a ground attack here. He is not waiting around for Barcast to build up. He is just going all in. And the Tech 2 gunships have arrived on the front. Akumar trying to push these bulls down. The only AA they have with them is a single Jag. And although these gunships aren't great on their own, they are doing a decent enough job to whittle down some of these bulls. Still not quite enough. As soon as a rattlesnake comes out, though, it's probably going to be coming up this way. So Vanguard getting pretty close now. Yeah, Barcast needs to move it away, otherwise he's going to lose it pretty quickly here. You can see how quickly that Vanguard goes down when bulls start shooting at it. But Barcast managing to block the bulls from shooting the Vanguard with 5% health left. But Akumar completely swarming Barcast with bulls here on pretty much every direction, as well as just tick spam. And now a hole in the center has been made directly outside of the front of Barcast base. These bulls are going to just keep coming over this hill. And Barcast's plan to use gunships as a defensive measure here is not really killing units quick enough. Holes appearing left and right. And Barcast is just losing more and more economy. He needs to make an impact on his opponent. Defending relatively strongly though. Akumar with very little when it comes to army value now, but he is just streaming units in. I think this may be the point though where Akumar starts to run into problems. Most of the metal he had was in the bulls that are at the top, which Barcast has now well and truly reclaimed. Barcast has built his own rattlesnake in that defensive position in the center. Having to get that starlight down, which he does, which keeps the rattlesnake alive. Now, Akumar has gone Tech 2 himself. Sorry, not Tech 2, Tech 3 himself. And we can see that over here with a few Marauders. But Marauders, when your opponent is already rattlesnakes, Razorbacks, don't know how that's going to play ball. Plenty of Tech 2 gunships now, just trying to whittle down some of these defenses. Trying to open up a hole and also get rid of some of the economy of Akumar finally. So much AA though, and surprisingly Barcast not focusing down that AA, just going for anything. Now you can see him manually focusing the AA down. There's no point losing gunships for no reason. Saying that, he has again stopped focusing the AA. Along the north though, 2 Razorbacks have managed to make it pretty far. Akumar having to go in for D-guns on these Razorbacks. It's very close. We'll definitely get one of them. Oh, he messes up. Akumar messing up with the D-guns, unable to get into position correctly, gets caught out, and one of the Razorbacks managed to catch him. Very well played there. It could have been anyone's game going into the middle of the match. Akumar had very strong positioning, but Barcast just able to run away with it in the end. That tech-free transition really saved the day. And thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this one. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.